I think when you kind of came and pitched our group, for me, that was a real turning point in the conversation when you said, you can't build, a DeFi system in Africa unless you're in Africa.
Facts.
And then when you move there and you're on the ground, I was like, okay, this guy's serious.
Yeah, I think, there is a lot in the diaspora, right? You go to the UK, you go to the US, you go to schooling, and you're like, okay, I want to bring this solution back home. But it's what's the term I use? Localization of basically like the products, right? You have to really understand the local layout. I think you're talking about a region that has, multiple different languages, right? You got Anglophone, you even got the Francophone, French-speaking countries, Cameroon, Ivory Coast, the DRC Congo. You got Nigeria, English, and then it has its own tribal languages as well. You got South Africa. I don't even know how many languages they have there. I think it's like 16 or 17 that are nationally recognized. So you have to really understand the moving parts. And I think that's the different aspects when we talk about the European or the US markets. Even just how you talk, right? It's just the communication aspect. So once you can understand it, then you can build products around that because the people are the ones actually going to be using them. It's not going to be, your OTC desks that do billions of dollars building the product that you want to do in Rwanda, right? So now you have to, and that's the whole part, build products for the people, so.
Powerful. Can you tell me just a rough idea of what gets transacted on Canza Finance in Africa right now? Like the countries and the types, because people keep saying Africa, but I mean, Jesus.
There's so many countries.
There's so many different countries, and probably the majority of what you do is located in certain countries, at least currently in certain products, but maybe a rough idea.
Yeah, no, I think there is hundreds of millions being transacted in stablecoins, right? We just did a report with stablecoin inter-Africa trade with Tether and things of that nature to understand the data. And then we released it with CoinMarketCap, and it got a really good reception because even though, like you said, you can hear it, but when you really have the data, and that's what's really good about the blockchain, everything is recorded, right? So once you can have that and you can basically present that into these different boardrooms, etc., it really makes a difference because you can say, I know fintech guys that move 5 billion, right, of just pure FX of just two pairs. I know other people that did 300 million covering maybe 4, 5, 8 different countries. So the capital is being moved there, especially the B2B sector. But then there is the B2C aspect. And I think that's what we're seeing with all these different movements. And every time you've seen these different cycles in digital assets, you hear about these countries, right? Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, because there's innovation, there's a young population that's ready to build, that are hungry, right? And hungry to really make a change. And then they see as well, you have all these tools, Instagram, Twitter, they see how big the world is. So now they can really bring those different ideas and bring them, especially now with a Web3, APIs, open source, basically environment, they can really build and actually make a change.
Hey, I know investing in crypto is scary. It takes a real leap of faith because there are so many scams, rug pulls, and bad actors out there. It's a dangerous business, which is why 95% of people lose all their money. Well, that's why I created the London Real Investment Club, so you can access the hottest deals on the planet and use the crypto bull market to create the generational wealth that you deserve. Join my team of over 100 people from around the world that are making millions of dollars behind the scenes investing in blockchain, AI, Web3 games, DeFi, Bitcoin, and more. Don't miss out. Click the link below to book a call with one of my team now. But hurry, this bull market will end soon.
I know investing in crypto can be scary. That's why you gotta join the investment club. Pull the trigger. Let's do this.
You said before that stable coins are just such a massive innovation, yes, and maybe even more so for African markets, maybe because there's so many different local currencies, or I'm curious, why is that so important for what you're doing in Africa?
Yeah, so one of the challenges that we've seen when we were on the ground originally is just that the US dollar shortage that are in banks, right? You want to go and say, I want to send $100,000, that transaction might take 1 or 2 weeks, or it could take 1 or 2 months, depending on the different financial institutions.
In Africa?
Yes.
Wow.
So multiple different countries, we're talking about different systems. So everything is basically decentralized, right? So when stable coins, it's instant settlement, it's all on chain. But then now, obviously, now you need to have those rails, right? Of those on and off ramps that we hear a lot. So that's really the big reason, because of the US dollar shortage that was initially there. Stablecoins as well, right? It's a very simple contract. If you look at the Tether, you look at also Circle, very simple contract, minting and burning, right? And sending. So those are the biggest business models that we see within this space now. I forgot the number. I think Tether's last quarter was in the billions.
Yeah.
And it's a simple solution. This is not like gigabrain, I'm going to DeFi and do all these different tools and parts. So I think, simple and being clear is it's very effective as well.
Yeah, the Tether business model kills me. It's like, we're going to issue tens of billions of dollars of stable coins, and we're going to keep the interest. And then, but you get the digital coin, and everybody wins, because the whole system is so slow and so antiquated and so expensive that they don't have to give you the coupon, and it's still a value add for you. And then they just pocket the coupon. There's no rocket science here.
Exactly.
And they're going to keep doing that because they got network effect. And God bless them, you know? Why not?
It's effective, and it is actually solving. Because when you're talking about import, export, you're coming from either Western countries, China, Asia as well. There's a lot of B2B. One time we had a request for quote for like 300,000 just to buy bed sheets from Korea, right? So like people don't truly understand that. I think, I'm just gonna be frank here, like I think, media, right? And this is perfect that we have a media aspect, is that we're growing up seeing, the $1 a day, the aspect of all these different parts of Africa. Where now, where we're older, 20 years later, you see all this new technology, and that's why now people are like, oh, I want to visit, Dakar, I want to visit, Zanzibar in Tanzania. So I think that's the beauty of everything, is that, but the whole part is that the capital's there. The capital's always been there since, Mansa Musa and the gold trade, one of the richest, I think the richest man on earth at that time. So I think it really comes down to narrative, and platforms like this are telling like the real stories. I think that's really, really, really big, because I started thinking about like TV, watching Friends or all these shows growing up in like the 90s. But there's an exercise that I do when I'm in like New York. I always talk to the Uber guys, right? And they always come from all these countries. That's what the beauty about New York is. But there's always a part going towards like the American dream, right? But the American dream aspect of them is, I have to go to New York City. I'm like, you can go ahead and make right now, $800,000 in Wyoming, So I think now we're at this part where the stories and, taking pride of where you're from, I think we're in that era now. And I think that, that's a beauty part, because we see it from Netflix, the categories, the movies. It's the story aspect.
To continue watching the rest of the episode for free, visit our website londonreal.tv or click the link in the description below.